You could dye it Cowboys blue and sell it. There's nothing they can do about it.
Okay, first off, we're not dyeing anything Cowboys blue.
We are dyeing everything Cowboys blue.
Not in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia. As a first business, this is a great idea. You'll learn a ton about different things.
After incredible technical difficulties, which apparently were not technical difficulties at all, for you, whoever want to start your own podcast, make sure your microphone's not on mute. So apparently there's a mute button right here, and I didn't know. We spent a half hour. I installed a new operating system and everything. It turns out it was a mute button.
Hey, at least we're up to date.
At least we're up to date. So here we go. All right. So you just want to jump right into it?
We might as well.
All right, cool. All right, see what we got here. All right, this is from Rusho Chen, shipping vending machine idea. Interesting. All right. I often see long lines at post offices for sending packages. Do you think a shipping kiosk, like a vending machine for shipping, would be a good business model if deployed in convenient locations? Not entirely automation, just to place it in shops that have employees to help sort out packages waiting for pickup, and the profit can split with the shop owner. That's interesting.
So they already do that.
Where do they do that?
No, meaning like the shop owners?
Yeah.
I can get the post office to come pick up stuff at my office.
Yeah, right. Who is it? Staples has a UPS and
Yeah, no, I'm talking like the regular post office. They actually offer this service already if you're a business. They don't offer it to individuals.
So let's take it the individual side. Right, I could have UPS or FedEx or whatever come to my office and pick stuff up if I have an account with them.
Yep.
But if I'm an individual and let's say it's Christmas time and I'm shipping 20 packages, I do know that those post office lines get to be a pain in the neck.
So right there, you address the problem. When is their demand? When are their lines? Twice a year?
Mother's Day and Christmas.
There you go. So could be an idea. I don't think it would be a profitable idea, but it could be an idea.
Yeah, it would.
I don't think the demand is there. At the end of the day,
well, let's assume it is though. The technology is going to be a bit of an issue, right? Because now you have to integrate with different systems, UPS, USPS, or wherever you're doing it at. You have to integrate with each carrier, so DHL, right?
Well, if you offer all the carriers.
Right.
I mean, a lot of UPS, FedEx, all of those, you can go online, print out your shipping label, and then just put it in a Dropbox.
Yeah, it's true. Trying to think, what would I do with this?
I wouldn't do anything.
It would. Okay, first off, you wouldn't need a kiosk, right? Let's turn this to an actual product. Okay, instead of saying no, let's turn it into an actual product.
Sometimes products just don't. There's not a demand for them.
Dun, dun. The phone.
What about it?
Right. Well, you make an app, right? So the app turns into your shipping app. So let's say you have a place. No, just hear me out, right? So
they have it.
Can I go in here and go into the FedEx app and create a shipment and just drop it off at FedEx?
That is correct.
I've never done that.
You can do the same thing with UPS, and
don't say the postal service. There's no way.
The post office does it for businesses, not for individuals.
Yeah,
correct.
For individuals. Okay.
But yeah, you can go in and create your account and ship basically through your phone, just like you can go online, set up an account.
Okay.
As long as you have the dimensions and the weight of the package.
So as an individual, not as a business, but as an individual, I can download the FedEx app, take a picture of my package, put in dimensions.
You don't even have to take the picture.
Well, you have to. It has to know what the weight is.
I believe they tie it to a credit card, so when it gets picked up, they put it on the scale.
So you don't know what it is until you ship it. Okay.
No. You can put in your approximate weight. So like UPS does this for businesses. Every once in a while, they'll do a spot check on our stuff we're sending out. And we'll get hit with a random bill that's overcharges $49. And we're like, what's this for? And then we get a tracking number with it. That means we put in a package. We put it was 3 pounds. They ran it through their scale. It was 4.5 pounds. And we just get dinged on our credit card for that extra 1.5 pounds on that package.
Okay.
So theoretically, the technology could work exactly the same. Is you put in your estimated weight of the package to get an estimated shipping number. You would tie it to a credit card. So the only thing you would really need is you put your tracking number in, you put it on the scale. Once it's verified it charges you that amount on your credit card, and then it could take the package.
So you put it on the scale. What scale? home, like your bathroom scale.
Correct.
Put it on there.
You can put it on any scale. But if you're talking about turning it
always 10 pounds overweight.
Yeah. Yeah. But theoretically, you could make a kiosk that does that, right? So tie it to an app, and the only thing that it goes by is weight.
Yeah.
So as long as you have a number and a credit card, you go to it, you scan your QR code or number, whatever, you put it in the kiosk that has a scale on it. It weighs the package, it charges your credit card, and then it's off.
I think that would be the better approach. Just using existing technology. The last thing you want to do is have to build technology that you got to send all over the places. Things are going to break. They're going to get
you can build an app. You can build an app that integrates with UPS, Post Office, FedEx.
Oh yeah, they all have APIs.
Correct. So I mean, that would be the easiest way. If you think this is a good idea, which one of us might.
I'm just saying, let's be positive. Let's be look. They're asking for advice. Let's help them out, right? Okay. Let's put it this way. I don't like the idea. I wouldn't want to do it myself. But if you're dead set on doing it, here are some ideas on how to do it.
That would be the easiest way.
Okay. Let's have that attitude today. We'll say whether we like it or not, but then give people the ideas of what they would do with it.
Create the app, integrate it with the Post Office, FedEx, UPS, DHL, and then your kiosk is literally just a scale.
Yeah.
And then once you put it in and you hit confirm, it closes the door so you can't add anything to the package.
There you go. All right.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. All right.
We solved the problem that happens
there
twice a year.
we solved your problem. You're all set. All right. Good luck to you out there. All right. Let's see. AI-based personality analysis app. Oh, I can't wait to read this. Weirdly quiet. All right. They asked, I'm creating a TG bot. TG? What's okay, let's continue. That helps users understand their personality type. The bot asks two sets of questionnaires to the users and uses an AI algorithm to provide a final result. This bot can later be improved to replace personality analysis tests for corporates or in recruitment process or any other application of psychometric tests. Later, the bot can also be transformed into an AI-powered mental health solution. Could you share what you think about? 1, is this a good approach to mental health solution? I am primarily thinking of creating an enterprise solution eventually. And 2, if there are any suggestions for a different application of a similar product. Okay, I still don't think we know what TG is yet, but that's okay. So they're creating an AI algorithm to analyze your personality based on a couple of questionnaires.
Pretty much.
Okay.
We do this already so we have a questionnaire that we send to our prospective franchisees. We pull those answers. So it's a twofold questionnaire. One is personal. One is how you would approach more business or work-like situations. And then we literally run it through ChatGPT, and it spits out something similar to a disc.
I remember when I was younger, we used to, when you apply for jobs at certain locations, they would give you those personality questionnaires, like, if you caught your mom stealing, would you turn her in type things, right?
Right. So they've come a long way since then.
Oh, sure.
But ultimately, this, I believe, is already being worked on. So somebody thinks it's a good idea somewhere. Well, and by someone else. I saw this the other day because I might have a slight interest in AI.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit. So, but I saw someone was working on something similar, and this is going to be not necessarily the first to market type idea. I think this is going to be an ease of use to market, meaning if people find it easy to use it and it is helpful, it has a really good shot at actually working, even on an enterprise scale, because if you talk to HR in any company, nobody wants to show up to HR and saying, hey, I'm having a mental breakdown, right?
Right, of course.
But if you could log into the app and it could at least help guide you through certain things, and it's the same thing. Like, a lot of people don't want to admit they're going to a therapist. Well, that's changing, but I think this would be a good starting point for a lot of people. I don't think it would help solve their problems necessarily. Like, it's not a digital therapist.
Yeah. So here's a little bit of a different approach. Okay. So I was watching TV the other day and I saw an ad for a dating site, but it's a little different than what I've ever seen before.
Okay.
Instead of a person like me going on and saying, hey, by the way, married, so wife, no, I'm not going on these sites. But it's a person going on and saying, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. It's your friends saying they want to set you up with somebody, and your friends find the match for you, and et cetera, because you know why? And I was thinking about it, I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Wait,
your
so
friends
you
know so much more about you than you do.
So you got to send it to your friends, and then they fill it out?
Your friends will basically look for someone to set you up with on this site. Because again, your friends know so much more about you than you do. So what about something like this? Instead of creating, a questionnaire, just like everybody else has out there, using AI to analyze it, instead of the questionnaire being directed toward you, what if the questionnaire is directed toward your friends and family? Because they're going to tell the truth. Because you're going to lie. You're going to go on and you're going to, subconsciously, you're going to lie about things. Like you don't want to admit that you have, bad thoughts at night or something like that.
Correct.
So you're not going to put it in there, and it's not going to know what to do. But your friends and family, they're going to put the truth of how they perceive you. And that might even give better results.
Maybe. So now we're into the mental health discussion.
Well, isn't that what this is?
The people that need the most help are the ones that people are least aware of them needing help.
Right.
Look at Robin Williams, right? Not in a million years did anybody see Robin Williams.
Yeah, I'm not talking about depression, though. I'm talking about personality.
Correct.
Right? Because that's what this is. This is trying to ascertain what type of personality you have.
Correct.
Like, I think I'm a fun-loving guy, but who knows? Maybe I'm an asshole. Who knows? I have no idea.
Most days, no. No, but that comes in because he's saying he wants it transformed into an AI-powered mental health solution.
Yeah.
So now,
that comes down the line. Sure.
Correct. Now you're doing all of those things as well. But I think the first part of this is really good. I think the second part of it wouldn't necessarily be a mental health solution as much as it could be a warning system.
Okay, I like that.
Right? So like
you're starting to exhibit behaviors that
correct.
go down this path or something
correct.
like that.
Yeah, you're showing signs of depression. You're showing signs of anxiety. Maybe you should go do something about it. But overall, I like the idea.
The police are on their way, right?
Right. Overall, I like the idea. It's just a matter of where do you draw the line and how much will it be able to do. But the personality profiling is already there. It's already being used. If you can make something better, then absolutely go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say when we say it's already being used, I challenge you to come up with an idea that's not already there, already
correct.
being done. It's a matter of can you build a better mousetrap, right?
This is that build a better user experience, and you'll do really well.
Yeah,
I think.
All right. Well, I mean, I think it's an interesting idea. Again, I don't know how much play it would really get. It would take time to build up that audience. So on
that note, by the way, since this is here, do you listen to the Wall Street Journal Tech News Briefing?
I do not.
Okay.
Should I?
You should.
Okay.
It's like a 10-minute podcast, 10 to 15 minutes every morning. This morning they were talking about companies are now hiring neurodivergents.
Sure.
To do specific things, right? Because it's coming out that neurodivergent personalities are really good at certain things. They may just be really bad at other things, like showing up on time or, communicating,
right.
But they're really good at other things.
Right.
So one of the things companies are now looking at is the ability to find if someone is neurodivergent and if
what their talent is, and
correct.
Just completely focus on that talent.
I think just because like the one they were talking about today was specifically people have been sharing with their employers when they're diagnosed with autism. And, Elon Musk has Asperger's. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Steve Jobs had something. I'm pretty sure Zuckerberg, like all of these guys.
Lots of people do.
Correct.
Lots of
and same thing, like in the software industry and the innovation industry specifically, I think that's like a gathering point for neurodivergence. Well, there's financial firms and all kinds of others that are now realizing that the same skill set you need for that is really good for other things within these companies. So I think there's going to be something coming down the line, and I'm just looking into a crystal ball, where people want to be able to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, not based on a standardized test, but rather based on a skill set that's just how your brain works.
Right, but how do you expose that? And the way you do it is you have to, as the person is working and doing certain things, you put them in positions to succeed, right?
Correct.
That's what I do with all my people. It's like, so I might bring somebody on, like for my software company, for example, I might bring somebody on as a front-end developer and quickly learn that they're just not very good at it, but man, are they great at writing back-end code,
Correct.
right? So you switch them over to somewhere that they're successful
So
at.
what their people are looking to do now is figure that out before they get hired. So if you can figure out an app that can help figure that out as part of the personality profiling, I think you'd be golden.
Oh, that's an interesting approach. I see where you're going with this. Okay, right. So the personality app is there to determine what type of skill set you would be successful, or what type of skill set you'd be successful with when you're starting this job.
Because most personality tests, like the DISC test and all that stuff right now, only gives you a basic that says, oh, they're probably good at problem solving. It doesn't give you the why or the how, right?
Or even what type of problem solving.
Correct. So I'll give you an example. My daughter is slightly ADHD like I am. We always struggle with math, right? And the reason we struggle with math is because someone will ask us, hey, can you solve this problem? And when you're in school, you have to go and then you show step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and here's the answer. A lot of people with ADHD or neurodivergence,
they skip the steps.
They skip 2 steps.
Yeah.
And they still get
all the steps, just go right to the answer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times they just see the numbers, right?
They see the answer.
Correct. They don't know what steps they took. They just know this is the answer, right? So from a normal perspective, that is a wrong answer because you didn't show all the steps. Well, I showed all my steps. I just didn't show all the steps you wanted shown. But stuff like that can help you determine where you are on the scale, right? Because there's normal, right? And then it's not a, oh, you're neurodivergent over here. Like there's levels of it. So you may have skill sets that people with Asperger's have, or autistic, or ADHD. You're just not all the way there, but you're still demonstrating that same, meaning you could be 50% of the way to being ADHD, and therefore you have some of these skill sets that someone that's fully ADHD has. So I think if you can develop an app that can figure that out, good luck with that. But like that would be new to market, and I think in about probably 4 to 5 years, that is going to be something that's in demand because people are going to be looking at it and saying, oh, I need someone that can look at a vast set of numbers and pick up patterns.
Right.
And if AI can't do it, someone that's very likely to be able to do that is someone with like severe ADHD, because they can just look at the board and go, oh, look, every 13th number ends in 7, right? And they don't know why they saw it. They just see it. So I think that's an interesting.
No, it's a great approach, and you're right. I think it's just a matter of time before we're there. But man, the discrimination that's going to bring out is going to be insane. I mean, think about it seriously.
Yeah.
People with great skill sets, absolutely qualified for the job, but the AI says they're not qualified for it. It's just a matter of time before that's a thing.
Yeah.
People are going to get disqualified for jobs.
I mean, it's already doing it. AI,
I know.
AI is already disqualifying a bunch of people based on resumes, right?
There was a I don't remember the company, so I'm not going to say the name, but it was a really big company that everyone knows. And they were using AI to hire software developers. And the AI trained itself to think, because this is very true in the software community, that there's just not a lot of women in software. There's just not. For every woman, there's 300 or 400 men,
Correct.
Maybe more. And like I've been hiring software developers for 20 years, and I think I've hired one woman, not because they weren't any good. I got one resume
Correct.
in 20 years.
I was gonna say, you just don't
like
get
a
the
unicorn.
application.
I'd love
Right.
to hire a woman because they have different approaches. Anyway, point being, the AI taught itself that women don't do software development.
Correct. So they're not a good candidate.
So exactly. So
Yep.
whenever a woman's resume came through, the AI would immediately reject it.
Yep.
Because it taught itself
It's
that
kind
women
of
don't do software. It's
kind of scary, right?
So it's kind of scary. So if you're going to build something like that, you got to build in bias relief too, because
Yeah.
you know you got
I mean,
to appreciate that bias will come.
Correct. And it's not just like for this, it's not necessarily just because you're just understanding who you're hiring, right? So you're not having the AI make the decision, you're just having the AI give you the profile.
Oh, sure. It's not making a decision, but it doesn't give you the profile if it rejects the resume outright.
Correct. Yes. For application side of things.
Yeah.
For this, I think this is going to have a much wider use than just employment.
Sure.
I mean, we're way off topic, but that's okay.
That's okay.
But imagine being able to give this to kids in school, right? And now you realize the reason this kid is really, really, really good at art and has a hard time communicating with you or reading stuff is because everything about them indicates that they're probably dyslexic on some level, right? And I think that's going to be what's interesting about these apps that are coming down the road. And I think this guy's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
I think he needs to go deeper.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so weirdly quite quiet. My apologies. Good luck with that, and we'll check up on you every once in a while.
Yeah,
See what you're doing.
That's something I'd want to follow.
All right, let's see what we have next here. Questions about pattern business.
What?
Should we?
I love different old
Let's
patterns.
let's see. I don't know. Let's see. All right. Agitated Low 4291. Hi, everyone. I love different old patterns, and I'm going to start a new business about it. These old patterns made in hundreds to thousands of years ago, most of them have beautiful meanings and blessings. I want these treasures to be seen. Also, God bless for the one. So person, his English is clearly a second language here, but that's okay. And they give us an example of a pattern. So they have two questions. One, can I earn money? Can I make earrings or pins? But how do I promote and find a target market? And two, besides earrings and pins, do you have better ideas I can work with? So basically what they're saying is that there are these old patterns, like go to medieval times or, in the 1800s that are probably exquisite, gorgeous.
Go back pre-Egypt.
Yeah, right. I mean, go look at buildings from 400 years ago. You'll see designs and architecture that we could not replicate today. We don't have the skills to do it.
We've been making clothes and patterns for longer than we've been making buildings.
Right. So they're saying, hey, let's take some of these old patterns and let's reuse them. Let's do stuff with them. I think that's a great idea. I think that's really cool.
I think it's a great idea as well.
Jewelry's a great place to start. I like the earrings and pins idea. Brooches, right?
Correct.
Women love those.
You could even go back to making certain clothing or flags or
pirate outfits.
Right. Wall art. A lot of these patterns would look good just as a piece of art.
Yeah, like a nice mural or something like that in your house.
Yeah. I mean, you could literally
tapestry.
Pretty much, right? Does anybody miss tapestries?
I don't know.
I can't imagine having to vacuum my walls. But so honestly, yes, I think it's a great idea. Promoting it easy. This is a Pinterest market all the way through and through.
Etsy, Pinterest.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would make something small. You can even test your patterns by, basically photoshopping the patterns onto the same thing.
Right.
Put 100 of them up on Pinterest and see
which ones sell.
Correct.
Yeah. Just make sure you have the ability to create them and actually make them to sell them to people.
But yeah, use Pinterest to figure out what patterns people generally like and then produce the ones that get the most attention.
Yeah. So that's an easy one. No, I love the idea though. Just go back and who does there are bands out there that will take my wife and I, we go to Trans-Siberian Orchestra every year for the Christmas show, which is great. Yep. If you've never been to it, it's a lot of fun. But anyway, they also do other music, and what they do most of their music is they take really, really old classical songs and rockify them, as I say.
Yep.
And it's really cool. It's kind of cool to hear like Beethoven on an electric guitar and such, Yeah,
it's like what's his name? Nathan Weller? No, Nathan. Forget what his name is. He's basically taking the old Irish folk songs.
Oh, so cool.
And then re-recording them with that same type of rhythm and stuff that they use, but with modern technology.
Kind of like Dropkick Murphys?
No. Not like
Because they're all original.
Go listen to Wellerman.
Okay.
Right? It's literally like old Irish folk songs.
So cool.
It is, but it's very, very basic, right? And sometimes the basic thing works the best.
It doesn't need to be so complicated.
Correct. But he originally wanted to be a different artist. I think he was getting into pop or rock or something.
Okay.
And someone said, your voice is ideal for these old Irish folk songs.
I'll have to check that out.
That's what he went and did.
All right, remind me after this to go look into that. I want to see that. All right. So good luck to you. I hope that the agitated low 4291, I hope it works out. That's actually a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see some of these things. All right, moving on.
Are you going to skip
You want to
Instagram?
take that? You want to take that?
We can look at it.
All right.
Let's look at it.
This is your world right here. All right. So we have Nice Action 1152 says, how can I turn a niche interest Instagram account that has 3.5 thousand followers in 6 months into a business? So how to take 3.5 thousand followers and turn it into a business. I have an Instagram account that posts old school skate clips. Cool. I love it already. I just started doing it as a hobby, but in about 6 months, I reached 3,000 organic followers. 90%, of course, are men if it's skating. Although I love posting vids that bring people, including myself, great memories and putting smiles on their faces, I need to earn some dough. Don't we all? Mm-hmm. The account has been active for a few months because I've been going through some personal problems, but has only lost about 100 followers. I'm sure if I started working on this account again every day, I could grow another 3,000 in 6 months. Yeah, you have to keep working at it. The more you work at these social media accounts, 3,000 might be low. You might be shortchanging yourself. That might be 10,000 in 6 months if you do it the right way, especially if you already have a good base. So is there any way I can earn some money out of this account with fast growing following? The name of the account actually sounds like a skate brand, so I was thinking of starting a clothing brand. Oh, I like that. This guy's thinking. I like this. He's thinking outside the box. But I know it's totally saturated market right now. Any ideas? Thanks. Gummy, this is all you.
So what's interesting is there was a girl on either TikTok or Instagram that had 3.4 million followers, and she tried to monetize by selling a t-shirt, and she sold one.
What?
She sold one t-shirt.
3.4 million followers, and she sold one t-shirt.
t-shirt.
She did something wrong.
So it's not that she did something wrong. You have to remember that people have an audience for different reasons, right? So not every channel can monetize, because if you're there for retro memories, it doesn't mean that you're going to start wearing that retro t-shirt, right? Not saying that it can't happen. Same thing. There's another guy out there. He does like motivational stuff and really cool quotes. And he turned it into a custom t-shirt business. So basically he buys the shirts ready. He puts the sayings on the shirts, and he does really well.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm just saying
it might be based on the content.
Correct.
Yeah.
The content controls, and your followers really control whether you can monetize it or not. There's also a bunch of stuff you can do with stuff like this. Is you could do partnerships with an account that is like niche driven like this. Like you could partner with Ubisoft. You could. It's not Ubisoft. Who does? Is it Viacom that does Tony Hawk? Pro
I'm
Skater?
not sure, to be honest.
So, because, I mean, we remember Tony Hawk.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. But ask the next generation who Hulk Hogan was. Right? They're going to be like, who? So I think Tony Hawk is slowly fading out. There's going to be other influencers that come in. So I think there's definitely money to be made there. Clothing may or may not. People don't realize how involved that business is or how hard it is to get off the ground.
Yeah.
So
until it itself becomes a brand and people recognize it.
Correct. But you need a lot more than 3,000 followers. I would look into once you have 500,000 followers. So for example, I think record labels right now won't even consider signing you unless you have 100,000 followers. I think that's the new rule that they have. I got to be honest,
that actually seems kind of low.
Well, it is and it isn't, right? So if you, let's say you are a artist and you're doing music and you have 100,000 followers, do you think we could get 20,000 of those followers to possibly buy a song on iTunes, right?
For 99 cents, yeah.
Right? Or $2.99, whatever it is. You don't need that many followers because a lot of these startup artists aren't getting, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your first record contract may be $50,000. Okay. If she sells 20,000 songs, we've made 15,000 of that back with 100,000 followers. And then as you log your journey through creating your record or your album or releasing your songs, you're probably going to start getting more exposure and all those things. So it's a calculated risk that the record companies are taking. It's the same thing with this. Start by building a dedicated audience. Once you start seeing a large number of return visitors as well as new ones, now you probably have ways that you could monetize it. And that could either be through product sales. It could be through a membership area where you have other videos that you don't release to the public, right? So there's all kinds of options. But I think start with something simple like custom t-shirts. Go up to the screen printer up the street from you. I'll guarantee you there's one. And
always,
just tell them, hey, if I come in with an order for 100 shirts, how long would it take for you to make them? And then come up with a design, make one, take a picture of it, and see if you can sell it. If you can sell something as basic as a t-shirt, then...
Well, you don't even have to do that now. You can go with Canva, right? Canva can do that, where you go, you take your design, make it in Photoshop or whatever, put it on Canva, and if it sells, they make the shirt and send it out for you.
Correct. So, but you're making much less than if you go talk to the guy.
Well, sure, but if I sell 2 or 3 in a month, I'd rather go on Canva and just make a few bucks. But if I start seeing 20 go a day, I'm taking that off Canva and going somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, Vistaprint, there's a bunch of them that do this stuff.
Yeah.
So there's always a way to test it. And I always tell people when you're getting into this type of stuff, see if you can sell a t-shirt, right? If you can't sell a t-shirt, you probably can't create a clothing brand.
Right. Well, at least not yet. I mean,
Correct.
So kind of like you said earlier, focus now on building the brand.
Yes.
Right. Don't worry about monetizing.
Nope.
If you're worried about monetizing right now because, life reasons or whatever, then don't do this because you're not going to make any money for a while.
But honestly, at around 10,000 followers, I would start seeing if there's interest.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, always put the little, little feelers out there. Hey, there's this T-shirt. Hey, here's this hat. Hey, here's this, that, or the other.
And with a lot of this stuff, you don't have to even produce it in bulk until you have the orders, right? You can have people pre-order. Hey, pre-order your hat.
Yeah.
And then once
see how many you get.
Once you have 100 of them, you put the order in. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
All right, cool. Well, good luck to you. I love the skateboarding content. That's fantastic. I'll have to check this out sometime. Actually, he doesn't put in here where it's at, so I can check it out.
It's on. Well, he just says it's on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he uses the same name. I'll find him. All right. Cool. Moving on. A watch business. Oh boy. All right. 𝙎𝙩𝙧 says, I've recently started having interest with watches, and I've thought of an idea to customize watches for a specific brand and sell them online. My own website, for example. Is this a good and profitable business? Customized watches. Well, first of all, if you're not making the watch from scratch and you're using somebody else's watch, I don't know that you have the right to just customize it, right? Because that's their intellectual property. You can't just go and take a Rolex and do what you want to do with it and say, here you go.
Why can I go buy a Jeep and customize it and resell it?
Maybe. No, I think there's a difference. I don't think you can buy a Jeep as a wholesaler or a dealer.
Correct.
Customize it and then sell it. First time sale. See, there's rules when it comes to...
So the dealerships are the only ones that could do that.
Right. Because there's rules when it comes to selling an object, whatever it be, a watch or car, into the marketplace for the first time.
Yep.
When that item is first put into the marketplace, the owner or the creator has what's called moral rights to it, right? Someone can't go and take whatever, a watch or something and completely do something different to it and then say, here you go, from this manufacturer. You can't do that. But if it's already been sold into the marketplace, then you can take that watch and do whatever you want to do with it and sell it. But it didn't come from the manufacturer.
So basically,
that's kind of what you have to avoid.
So he can buy it retail, customize it, and then resell it.
Yeah, he can buy it at retail,
correct,
and then customize it and do what he wants to do with it.
I mean, you can go to any retailer and say, "Hey, I'll take 100 watches," and they'll give you probably a nice discount anyway.
Yeah,
but so
I'm curious what you would do to customize a watch, though.
I don't know. I never thought you could customize a sneaker, but people are doing that too.
Yeah, all the time.
Right? So there's got to be stuff you can do to a watch. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking something simple as taking a chain and making it, like, let's say you have a silver, black, gold. So you could customize chains. You can customize watch faces. You can customize. So once again,
not a lot of room there, but you can find some room to customize.
Correct. But I would say if you want to test it, go buy 5 watches, assuming that it's something you can afford to buy, customize them, and then drop them on eBay.
Yeah.
See what it does. And if there is enough margin, there's probably a business there.
I can promise you, though, if you do certain brands like Omicron or something like that, they're going to hit you with a cease and desist. Guaranteed.
You can't.
No. Just because they hit you with a cease and desist doesn't mean they have the legal right to do it.
Correct.
They're just going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to try to scare you.
Correct.
But
as long as you buy something retail and you do whatever you want to it, and then you resell it as a modified version of the original.
Yeah.
It's not like he's saying, I'm going to create knockoffs. He's literally just saying, I'm taking this watch brand and I'm making changes to it, and then I'm reselling it. Just like
there's a point, though, where you can't. So, like, for example, so we're in the Philadelphia area, right? Mm-hmm. We have the Eagles here, we have the Flyers here, etc. I can't take a Flyers jersey, and change the logo in a way that customizes the logo. I can't do that. That's now messing with their intellectual property.
Well, that's if you're messing with their logo.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but you can buy.
But I can put things on the jersey and whatever I want to do. At that point and sell it.
You could dye it Cowboys blue, and sell it. There's nothing they can do about it.
Okay, first off, we're not dyeing anything Cowboys blue.
We are dyeing everything Cowboys blue.
Not in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia. But that's the whole point, right? Is you can take a Nike sneaker and make the Nike logo orange and then sell it as a custom Nike orange shoe. Because
yes, but you can't alter the logo itself.
I could take the logo off.
You could do that, but as long as you're not doing anything that interrupts the brand, right? So you couldn't take the swoosh and add to it.
So I couldn't add wings to it.
Correct. You could not do that.
Even on a product I bought retail from them.
If you bought it and you're wearing it yourself, there's not a problem. But if you're changing that logo and now putting it back into the marketplace, that's an issue.
Okay.
You can't do that because you're basically devaluing the Nike logo at that point.
What if I took the Nike logo off and put wings on?
Then that's a different story. The Nike logo is no longer a part of it.
So basically, for this guy specifically, as long as he's not messing with the manufacturer's logo,
if the watch has something that's very specific to the manufacturer, right? Like, I can't think of an example. I'm not a watch guy. Like, I'm not even wearing a watch.
Movado, the gold diamond or the diamond up top.
Okay,
the 12
perfect. Great example, right? So everyone knows that's their trade. That's their brand, right? Yep. They have that diamond up top. If you do something that alters that diamond, now taking it away is different, but if you do something that alters that diamond, Movado could have a claim, an IP complaint, because you are devaluing their brand.
Okay. So
just to be safe, just to be clear on that.
If he's going to do it at any type of scale, talk to an attorney about the modifications you're making to see whether or not they would fly.
Yeah.
And you need to talk to an intellectual property attorney, I'm assuming, more than anything.
Yeah, this would be any IP attorney should be able to help you with trademark and copyright, because it goes kind of both sides.
Okay. But all in all, as an idea, I like it. As a side gig to start with, to see whether there's a market for it, I like it. Yeah. And I think it has a potential of taking off.
Well, good luck to you with that. All right. Seeking feedback on an educational app idea.
Oh, that's not up my alley.
Oh, it's up on my alley quite a bit. I've built these before. All right. OK Discount 8312 says, "Hey guys, I'm developing an educational app similar to TikTok." Is TikTok an educational app?
So that's how it started.
Really?
Yeah. So,
I did not know that.
Yeah. So TikTok in China, and there's rumors that the app in China functions differently than the app here.
Okay.
It was meant to teach kids in China about all kinds of things, and the more they got interested in something, the deeper the learning got.
I did not know that.
Yeah, TikTok started as almost like
really
an
cool.
educational app. Then it evolved into, or devolved.
Yeah, then it devolved into
dancing and
entertainment
and skills.
It's entertainment.
Now it's entertainment. Yeah.
So I'm developing an educational app similar to TikTok where users can post and watch short, vertical, engaging videos. The difference from other apps out there is a complete. Please don't cough in the middle of my speaking. Thank you very much.
I apologize.
Just kidding. Is a complete and unique focus on progressive and fun learning. The app will cover various topics like personal finance, career advancement, health and fitness, language basics, personal growth, and other skills like cooking, drawing, etc. Users can watch basic content for free and pay for more in-depth exclusive content. Would you use this app? Would you be willing to pay for premium content? Any feedback is appreciated. I'm also looking for people to join the project specifically as a CTO. All right, so you need someone to build this for you. Got it. Oh, no, it says they're developing it. So maybe they're actually developing it. That's pretty cool. Well, I mean, the app sounds cool. It sounds like an aggregation of quite a few things that are already there. But again, we don't care if something's already there. We're still going to give good advice. I would say that I like the idea of trying to turn, as Gummy said earlier about TikTok becoming an educational tool as opposed to an actual, turning from an educational tool into nothing but entertainment. I like the idea of trying to get back to the educational side of it.
TikTok is also it. So what's interesting about TikTok is you could have 4 people in the same room and you could scroll through their feed and it'll look totally different.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Based on your individual preferences and
correct.
usage.
So like someone could be using it as an educational app right now. Someone could be using it as a language learning app. There's a lady on there right now that I don't know why it popped on my For You page, is learn how to speak Chinese. And she has this whole series of videos where she's teaching you how to speak Chinese. And I thought it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, so I marked it as not interested.
See, okay, now there you go. So I'm not a TikTok guy. I don't even have it on my phone. I probably should at some point, but I never got into it. So I don't know that.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, when I see TikTok, I think of 12-year-old girls that want to become famous by doing a dance.
That's what most people.
That's what I think of TikToks.
So a couple of years ago, 51% of users of TikTok were 40 plus.
Yeah.
Some of the Gen X, I think, is now the largest generation on TikTok. And the content there, depending on...
We just take over everything. We did it to MySpace. We did it to Facebook. We're doing it to TikTok.
I actually had a TikTok go viral when I said, Gen X is here. We're going to ruin this one for you too. People did not find that amazing.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so when you're doing apps like this, if you don't get caught up in the finding the creators that can get you the most attention, but stay true to what you are, I think there might be an app, especially for users 16 and under, that this might be useful for. Like, I would have no problem handing my 8-year-old daughter a phone. I'm hesitant because right now I have YouTube,
right.
I have Instagram, I have TikTok, none of which I really want her to be scrolling on, because one like on the wrong video, all of a sudden it sends you down a different rabbit hole.
A very dark rabbit hole in some cases.
Now, if there was an app that she can scroll through that teaches her, hey, here's a fun way to solve a math problem, or here's how we do this, or...
and it's all education based.
Correct.
So even if she does click on something, the other things that she's going to see
it's going to be more education based, right? And I think you're going to find that there's a lot of creators that are in the education space. There's a science lady on TikTok. I forget what her name is. She also has a Netflix show, and her TikTok channel is huge. Now, the problem with it is she has really fun educational stuff all over her TikTok, and then that's intertwined with political stuff.
Sure.
Right?
So that turns people off.
It doesn't necessarily turn people off.
It does.
I would, because of that, I would not let my kid watch her page all the way through.
Right.
A few years ago, I would have had no problem doing it because she's a lot of fun, right? Like, she just teaches stuff in a cool way. So, once again, I think it's a good idea.
As long as you keep it focused
Correct.
on the education part.
Yeah, correct. And
but that's tough because that's not where the money is.
Well,
that's where money is for you as an individual,
correct.
maybe a small business, plenty of money to be made there. But if you start seeing the dollars come in from the more and more views you get, and then you get a new board on there or something like that, they're going to say, hey, here's an idea.
Yeah. Why don't we allow people to teach others how to dance?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right? Like, oh, yeah, TikTok. Right? So it's a fine line. I would have very firm definitions of what content is or is not allowed. And, I mean, it's not a hugely expensive app to build. So, I think it's worth a shot. It's worth a test. Your microphone is off. I apologize.
That's okay. I did it on purpose. I wanted to readjust the mic. I was looking at yours. I was like, oh, I like the way you have yours adjusted.
I think it's a good idea. Test it. It's not that expensive of an app. You don't need that many users. I think there are sponsors that would be willing to advertise on there that are still, like, you could get toy companies, you can get Nickelodeon,
right?
You can get advertisers that would be very interested in a kids-only app. Just be very, very careful around all the laws around minors.
Right.
The sign-up process, all of that.
So once again, talk to an attorney.
Have a very, very long conversation with an attorney.
Yes, a very long conversation.
Age verification, all of that stuff. I would even consider having the adult go through a age verification or like so that I have to install it on behalf of my kid before they even get access to it.
Yeah, I see that. The Facebook does that sometimes. When you're under 13, your parent has to approve.
And to start with, I would not allow any type of comment or peer-to-peer engagement on it. I would allow people to like it just to kind of help figure out, whether people are enjoying the content or not, even though there's plenty of other ways to do that. Like, you can measure time watched, all that.
Right.
But I would stay away from any peer-to-peer type communication on an app like this.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble.
Correct.
Asking for it.
Correct.
All right. Well.
So, great idea.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Let us know when it's on the...
Yeah, we'll download it.
Yeah. I'm on Google, you're on Apple, so we'll test both versions.
There you go.
Start with Apple. I said that. I can't believe I said start with Apple. Start with Apple.
Start with Apple. Start with Apple. Always start with Apple. All right. Oh, this is a good one. I like this. Friendly Cry 3752 says, what schooling do I need to start a business? None.
Absolutely none.
None in particular, I should say. None. You don't need anything specifically.
None.
But let's see what they say. I have an idea of starting a game processing / butcher. Game processing / butcher that's doubled with a fast turnover taxidermy shop. Are we being trolled? I got to read that again. I have an idea of starting a game. Like sporting. Like I got you. Like killing animals or something. Okay.
We're not being trolled. You just
gotcha.
Okay. You didn't.
I didn't read it properly. So I'm thinking game like video games or something.
Like deer meat.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. A one-stop kind of deal. I have some background in both taxidermy and meat cutting. There's a ton of gaps in both meat processors and butchery around the country in decently trafficked rural areas. I've heard about that, actually. So I think it could be successful with proper management and streamlining. I've got a GI Bill, so they're a veteran like that, to get some education, but I have zero idea of what kind of degree program to look into. Is the education even worth it? All right. Well, first of all, thank you for your service. Appreciate that. We love veterans. And before we get into the education, let's talk about the business idea itself. Okay. So I have heard like in a lot of rural areas, it's tough to get fresh, unless you do it yourself, of course. It's tough to get meat freshly cut up and delivered to you. It's usually sent to the cities and such. Good luck trying to find a really good steakhouse, like not like here we have the Poconos, but not even the Poconos, like way out past the Poconos, right?
Right.
Trying to find something in the middle of Pennsylvania, it's hard. Because it's not nearly as easy, I should say, because of...
Or even the other way around. It's hard to find good farms the closer you get to the cities.
Yeah.
Or game meat is almost impossible to get.
Right.
Right? When's the last time you saw deer meat on the menu? But so besides that, let's assuming he's targeting people that go out and hunt and are just looking for a way to process whatever they catch and kill.
Right.
Right? Or killing.
Killing cat.
Kill it.
Catch, kill, and then stuff.
Right.
And hang.
So if you could literally take your deer, throw it in the back of your truck, drive down to his facility, he'll butcher it, cut the head off, mount it for you. I think there might be a market for that.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
I think there's a market for it.
But how do you expand this market? Like, you could do it in your local area, but how much are you really going to make? Right? This is not a scalable idea.
Yeah, we're going to go to my favorite.
You got a franchise.
License it.
Yeah.
This is a pure licensing model,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, so you would need multiple shops because you would be busy during hunting season. Right? That's your busy time. How much game meat is there outside of hunting season? Like, what game is there all year round? So I'll admit I'm not familiar with what...
I don't know. I don't think there is.
Correct. So...
Not in this part of the world, anyway.
Correct. But, I mean, there's other businesses that function really well, and they only operate 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. One of my buddies is a welder. He works 3.5 months out of the year because he works for a company that specializes in HVAC systems for schools. They're only allowed to work on the systems when the schools are closed.
Right.
So they do...
Which makes sense.
They do 80-hour weeks for 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And go in and do everything that has to be done. And then come fall, they do minor maintenance stuff, right? So as far as the education part of this, take some bookkeeping classes, take some marketing classes. They don't even have to be formal education. Go on to HubSpot, take some of their marketing classes. Go listen. YouTube is a great resource for this. There's a bunch of good business people on YouTube. Alex Hormozi is a good one to go listen to his longer ones. I mean, the business side of it is you're going to learn by hard knocks, right? And as far as scaling it, if you can train people properly, there's no reason why you can't have 20 of these popping up around because it's seasonal. So you're doing all the work at the same time.
And different parts of the country have different seasons. So
correct. So you could have, as long as it can sustain it, you could have it be a butcher shop for longer if you're buying the meat, for example, and reselling it, or are you just processing the meat for whoever brings it in? Right? So it could be both.
Right.
So I kind of like the idea.
No, I think the idea is pretty cool. I'm going to focus on the educational part for a minute. As you said, you don't necessarily have to have formal education. Go to, you can go online, learn these things, or you could go to college, whether it's, a local community college or, some private college or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the show The Wire when it was on back in the early 2000s?
No.
Oh, man, it was on HBO. What a fantastic show it was.
I wasn't here in the early 2000s.
It doesn't matter. HBO is all over the world. Doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
You speak English. You understand. So it's about these. It's inner city Baltimore, and it's about these police. It's really two sides to the show, right? There's you have the protagonist and antagonist on both sides, right? You get the police and you have the drug dealers, and the really cool part of it is the police are the police, just like any other police show, right? But the drug dealers, and this was early in the 2000s, so they really, really got it. Nowadays, it might be a little more commonplace, but they didn't treat the drug dealing like, hey, let me just go out and sell some drugs. They treated it like a business.
Yeah.
And the one of the main characters, name was Stringer Bell, was actually going to college to learn business. And he would take what he learned from the classes and he would take it back to when they were talking about how they're going to distribute the drugs and things like that.
Right.
And it was just the coolest idea that he was taking his actual like classes on running a business and applying it to the drug trade. It was really, really cool.
It reminds me of there's a well-known man. His name was Escobar.
Pablo Escobar, sure.
He did not start in the drug business.
I'm aware.
He started as something completely different with a totally different background and ended up there. So, yeah, I mean, the education part of it is just learning the basics of business. And you can learn that through way more means than college or education. But if he's saying that he has, he's getting money through the GI Bill, go take, and this is something if you don't need to graduate with a specific degree, if you're going into business, like my son came to me a few years ago and said, hey, I think I want to be a personal trainer, right? Well, most personal trainers, you're going to be a 1099. Right. So I told him, okay, so you have a year until you can start that schooling. So you're going to go to college for 1 year. I said, go take classes that'll benefit you. Go take accounting 101 or bookkeeping 101.
Things you'll have to do in any business anyway.
Correct. Like just the basics. You don't have to take the language courses and the biology and whatever else they want to throw in there because you're not going to school to get a degree. You're going to get the skill set you need to run a business. So go learn those basic skills and then it doesn't matter whether you get the degree or not. But that'll save you time and use the rest of your time to actually get the business up and running.
Yeah, that's a good point. And there's plenty of people out there that are incredibly, incredibly successful. And I'm not even talking about like the people you see on TV, just your everyday, your everyday average millionaire that doesn't have a high school diploma.
Yeah. I mean, they're now talking about, the trades are going to be the next
without question.
Coming in.
Without question.
Right? I think this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yes.
And apparently has a franchise model behind it. So go Gummy. You want to talk franchises, give them a call.
Or a licensing model, or just own all the... look at Panda Express.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
People think Panda Express is franchised. They're not. They own all 2,400 locations or whatever it is. So if
but how long did it take to get there? They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, I think the owner's like 80 now.
Yeah, but this guy seems pretty young over here.
So, and does it really matter? If you have 20 of these locations, each running 1 or 2 people in them, because it's seasonal work. Right? You can get seasonal workers into this.
Rita's.
There's nothing... Rita's, right?
Yeah.
Franchise. But there's nothing that says that a lot of this work has to be done during the day either, right? So think of how many college kids are there right now in Oklahoma that already have the skill set to butcher a deer, right? You could get college kids to come work nights and weekends as a side gig and do this business.
And it doesn't seem like it's something that's terribly difficult to teach over a few days or something like that, probably. Not teach, not master.
It's a little bit more than that. I mean, I used to work at a slaughterhouse, and I've also worked in meat processing.
I learned something new about you every day.
So butchering an animal from beginning to end is not something you learn in a few days, not to do it properly at least. And same thing when if I brought in half a cow here and told you, okay, I need you to cut this up.
I would have no clue what to do with it.
We would probably have to go through quite a few cows before you would even know what the muscles are, what steaks they get turned into, what is feasible to eat as a whole, what do you grind up. I mean, it's a skill set. Doesn't take forever to learn, but I would say the training period is probably someone coming in, their first month is just helping them understand the basics of how to cut up the meat. But you could split it up so that someone does the rough cutting and then someone that knows what they're doing does the finesse.
Okay, cool. Well,
doable.
As far as your idea goes, I like the idea. Good luck to you on that. I would say education, sure, not necessary, but if you have the time and the GI Bill helps, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely helpful to have. All right, let's see what we have next here. Okay, we will. It says, roast my new software as a service idea. Can't wait. Notion database plus Typeform like Form UI plus drag and drop form builder. What are your thoughts on this?
Doesn't that exist?
It's gotta. It has to.
We're both staring at it like that sounds like something there should already be on the market.
This has to already be out there.
Look up Notion database with forms.
Noteforms.com.
Mm-hmm. Create Notion forms.
JotForms. I've used JotForms before. Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
And that is drag and drop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I was like, I'm pretty sure this is not a.
So roast your idea. Great idea. It's already being done.
I think it's being done by multiple people, and then on top of that, you also have so many of these like Zapier and work.com and where you can build the form in anything, and then it's just, hey, assign these fields here.
Right.
And it will tie into any database. So good idea. Right. Once again, there's people doing it.
Yeah.
So somebody's making money doing it already. If you can do it better or cheaper or more efficiently.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say there's any roasting of your idea.
No.
It's just that it's already being done in a lot of different aspects.
Yeah.
Now, if you have something that's unique that you didn't put on here,
dude,
okay, cool.
How many CRM system launch every year?
Every day. There's always something new out there.
So there's
how many of them are any good though?
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, because we are in tech, you directly, me indirectly. I use the tech, you make the tech, right? I'm always blown away when you talk about certain things that you and I take for granted. I got asked today, what is a prompt? Right? And you and I both just go, well, everybody knows what a prompt is, right?
But how do you explain it to somebody? Yeah.
The reality is 99% of people don't know what a prompt is. I've been teaching my wife how to use large language models.
How's that going?
It's interesting. She's catching on quick. She is really good at it, in case she ever listens to this. No, but like a lot of us take certain things for granted that, everybody knows about JotForm, right? Well, we have to think about it.
Yeah.
That means there's other people in tech that have to think about it. There's people that don't know it exists. So if you can build something, even if it copies JotForm and you can just reach a different audience than JotForm does, there you go. Yeah. There's a business.
Yeah. So roasting. I don't think we need to roast it. No. It's just it's kind of already being done. Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Oh, you skipped the business idea that match my social media following and skill set.
Did I skip that? I'm sorry. Let me go back to that one. All right. Let's see here. Aura Curious says, help me find a business idea that matches my social media following and skill set. I have a growing social media following with a personal brand surrounding running, promoting an inclusive running community, training for races such as half marathons and marathons, and encouraging people who feel too slow to be a runner. Thank you. I need that actually. I'm interested in creating something. I am crafty. Off the top of your head, what product could I sell to this following? Well, I don't know that you would make your own product.
Yeah. You know how the other guy was like, I think I want to do a clothing brand?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You should work with that guy.
No.
Get the skateboarders and runners together. The runners can chase skateboarders.
People don't realize that you could go to China right now and have a custom shoe made. Mm-hmm. So make turtle shoes. Like literally create a brand of shoes called Turtle Shoes. And there you go. It's tailored to the community that feels like they're running too slow.
Oh, dear Lord. Do you really want to take the time to have to sell a physical product in this country? Do you have any idea that it takes the distribution channels alone are going to take up your 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week, just managing distribution channels?
She said she's interested in creating something. Okay, fine.
Create all you want.
Fine. Create patches. The Turtle Club
There you go,
patches.
the Turtle Club patches. I like it.
There we go.
I like it.
That is simple, easy. You can craft the prototypes and then just have them mass produced, make them fit in envelopes that you can pre-package, and all you have to do is just put a name and a sticker on it, and you can go to the kiosk that the guy made for the packages.
Stickers, that's another thing you said. Stickers, right?
Stickers,
So patches,
right?
stickers,
Yep.
little things
Stickers, you can get
wristbands.
You can get any sign company to make you 100 prototype stickers for cheap.
Or the other side of the coin is if you don't want to have to do all that work to make really little bit of money, because you only make a little bit of money per.
Well, and this is where she's making her money is the personal brand side of things, right? So a sticker that costs you 29 cents to make, you're selling for $5.99 or $6.99 because people are buying it because they want to be part of the club.
But again, you don't make that's not where you make the big money on places like this. Well, places like this, you make the big money by partnering with a company like a Nike or something like that who sells shoes, Adidas or whatever.
Correct.
And you become a spokesperson for them through your channels.
A lot of people don't want to get associated. So you know I have a social following, right? So people ask me quite frequently, what software do you recommend? What programs do you recommend, right? And I have swayed away completely from speaking about one software or another or one product or another. If you're an Apple person, be an Apple person. If you're an Android person, be an Android person, right? So I don't want to speak on behalf of or recommend any other brand. So as good as that model is, it is not for everyone to want to become a spokesperson or promote someone else's products.
Yeah, but you have your own company. You have the ability to do that. You have the financial ability to say, I don't want to do this. Here's where I'm going to set my limits. When you're an up-and-comer, when you're trying to build a product or trying to build a company, you don't have that luxury.
Dude, I have had companies come to me and say, we'll pay you $1,000 for every video you make, regardless of how long it is. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so I could make 10 3-second videos and you're going to pay me $30,000?
That math doesn't work out.
If I make, 10 grand for 10 grand to make
it's the ADHD. I get it.
Yeah. So it's if I make 10 videos, 3 seconds each,
right,
takes me a minute to make it, it's 10 grand. Right? It's you will get deal offers like that.
Yeah,
so,
and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, I agree with you. I'm not a spokesperson type person, but I'm just kidding. But again, when people are starting to build their own following, their own brand, sometimes that can really help too.
Correct.
Because now you have access to a much wider audience.
But it can be a hassle.
Sure.
Like there's a reason there's a whole industry developing around creator agencies. Mm-hmm. Right? It's because the negotiation process between the company and you is interesting because they will negotiate all kinds of things. My concern is you don't necessarily, if you want to build your own brand, if you have a personal brand, you don't always want to be associated with someone else's brand.
Sure.
Right? And I mean, Nike would be a good partner in something like this because at the end of the day, the reason Nike has the slogan, just do it, is because they believe everybody can be an athlete, right? So her personal brand and a brand like Nike would probably coexist pretty well. Doesn't mean necessarily that Nike wouldn't want to be part of it or that she could get that type. And then now if she has to look into another sporting goods company, like if she does, I don't know, let's say Adidas and her personal brand don't quite align. Mm-hmm. So now you're into that, well, I can only work with specific brands because of my personal brand.
So where I was thinking was, the larger brands are the ones that always have the control, right? They're going to have control. Nike, Adidas are going to have control over you. They're going to tell you what you can and can't do. That's just the reality. It's what's going to happen. So maybe working with a smaller brand, an up-and-coming brand, right? Like End1 wasn't End1 forever, right? It hasn't always been around. 20 years ago, you almost never heard of End1,
correct,
right? Now it's everywhere.
What are those shoes that are Asics running shoes, right?
Yeah.
They weren't always,
right.
People had no idea. I mean, reality is nobody knew who Nike was when the guy was selling running shoes out of the back.
Before Jordan, no one knew who Nike was.
Correct. Or when they started selling running shoes out of the back of a truck.
Right.
Right. Well, they were also called something else back then. But, you know, it's, yeah. I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. She says she's crafty, that she wants to make something. She wants to create something.
Sure.
I think there's ways that you could make stuff that is low cost to make, high margin, and would be enough to support you until you can get it to a point where you can just have someone handle it.
Here's my concern for that, though. Once you start getting into the I'm making a product and selling it field, that's all you're doing, and you're not going to focus on your brand any longer. It's going to be very difficult for you to do both, right? Because you got to make the product, right? Materials, raw goods, etc.
You have it made for you.
Well, whatever it is, but you still have to source it. Right? It still has to be done, right? Then you have to market the product. Then you have to distribute the product. Then you have to make sure that the quality assurance. People are calling with issues, et cetera, et cetera. It becomes more than a full-time job just selling the product.
But that's any small business.
So maybe
you are a marketing manager. You are CEO,
so what you can do then is
CFO.
Well, I'm trying to give this girl some ideas. So what you can do then is there's what's out there what are known as 3PLs. These are called third-party logistic companies, right? And what a 3PL does is it will take your product, whether it's running shoes or whatever it is. You send them 10,000 pairs of the running shoes. Think of it like an Amazon warehouse. And every time an order comes in, the 3PL fulfills the order. They will go to their warehouse. They will find the shoe. They will ship it to the person. And then if the person has the complaints, the wrong size, it's torn, it doesn't fit right, they'll ship it back to the 3PL. The 3PL will handle all the customer service, etc. Now, obviously, there's a charge for this, and they're going to charge you a good percentage, but it's better that I would say it's better for her to continue building her brand online and however else she's doing it, and let some other company handle the actual distribution.
It all's going to come down to scale, right? Like if you're at a point where you can actually sell shoes, then you're probably at a point where you can get a company like that to do it.
Right.
But start somewhere. Start with running club stickers, start with patches, and work your way up through. Ultimately, you could have your own, Turtle Club shoes.
Right.
But you can...
Where'd you come up with Turtle Club?
Because she said it's encouraging people who feel too slow to be a runner.
I mean, I think that's brilliant. I really do. Are you going to give that to her? Is that hers for free?
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. It's yours. You heard it here. Gummy's giving it to you. That's great.
Start with little things and work your way up, right? Like Nike didn't start with a full clothing line. They started in shoes. There's all these things that started selling just one simple little widget or gadget that then have become full brands. I'm trying to think of someone else that started with just like a single product, which was more of like an accessory that became a full brand.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of examples out there. I can't think of them. You're right.
Yeah, but, so get started with something. See what people are willing to buy. See what your audience is willing to spend, right?
Yeah.
If you can sell stickers that are worth $1.99 for $7.99, you have a pretty dedicated audience that's willing to buy from you. It comes back to what we were talking about earlier. The influencer that couldn't sell a t-shirt.
Right.
Versus,
Netflix kind of fits that model. Think about what Netflix originally was doing, right? They were just, you rent a CD, rent a DVD in the mail, right? And then it went from DVD in the mail, which everybody loved, to now you can stream them.
Now you can stream older movies, but the DVDs still have to come. The new movies still have to come.
Still come through DVD, right? And then even that switched up some, and then it was Netflix making their own shows and becoming one of the most valuable companies in the world. So you're right. Things sometimes you start out with one particular product that expands into something else.
NVIDIA.
Yeah, NVIDIA, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like they started making one thing.
Yep.
And now they are, the second largest company on the planet?
Crazy, man. Crazy. Business can explode like that. All right.
Last one?
Last one.
Business idea validation.
Well, no, I like this kid. 16 years old, business idea. I love it. I love reading about a young person coming up and saying, I have a business idea.
Yes.
It's great. All right. So I'm 16, don't know much about business. I wouldn't expect you to. And I'm currently learning. Last week I had an idea. What if I take old and modern games and start selling them with discounts? Okay. Now, before you say I'd be wasting my money, no. I know how to get games for free. I thought this could be a good idea, but since I'm still young, I would like someone to help me with it. Again, just an idea. It's probably stupid, but let me know if you can help me with this project. Well, it's not about being stupid at all. I mean, any idea is sometimes just a grain of an idea that leads to something else, that leads to something else, that leads to Google. Right? So never cut yourself short. But isn't this what GameStop is? Right? They take old games and resell them. And look how well that worked out for them.
So,
I mean,
can you scroll down, because he answers a couple of questions? Because you're thinking video games, I'm thinking board games.
You know what? That's a good point. Let's see. Does he answer them? What's his name? This is 𝙎𝙧𝙧 𝙬𝙩. 𝙎𝙧𝙧. I need someone to help me manage the business. Not something I can do myself. I need a commercial distribution license. My parents don't want me to help. Want to help me? They say it. Figure it out yourself. But it doesn't say what it means. Yeah. It doesn't say if he means video games or board games. You're right. I was thinking video games all the way. I was thinking video games because, quite frankly, I don't know a 16-year-old that plays board games. My kids don't play board games.
My brother's 25 and he plays Dungeons and Dragons and all kinds of board games all the time.
Dungeons and Dragons is an exception to that. It really is. It's a huge exception to it.
But yeah, no.
I try getting my kids to play Life. Not happening.
If you go to my brother's house, he literally has a closet full of board games that he plays with his kids.
That's awesome.
So, we don't know whether he's in the U.S. We don't know where So board game culture is still a huge part of... I'll give you.
Let's look at both sides. Let's start with the board games.
So I'll give you an example. When I go to Colombia, where my wife is from, I barely turn on any electronic devices for the entire time that I'm there, but I probably spend 2 hours a day playing board games with families.
That's so cool.
Right? Turning on a TV there, if there's family around, people look at you funny. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I was just going to..." If it's not if there's a soccer game on, okay.
That's one thing, right?
Correct. But you're not going in there to watch Ted Lasso while there's family over. No, you're going to come out and hang out and we're going to do stuff and we're going to play
cards.
So they don't play a lot of cards. They actually mostly play board games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising. Anyway, go ahead.
But so yeah, I think it's interesting. And I always think back to the Lego concept, right? There's a massive market for old Lego. I'm trying to think if there would be if there are board games that no longer exist, that if you can source them, that would actually still be valuable today.
I mean, it's quite possible, but then are you looking at it for the hey, it's a board game or it's a collector's item, and that's why I want it, right? And that now you're talking about a completely different market.
It depends on where you are in the world. I remember it took me forever to refine Stratego.
Oh, what a great game that was!
It was a fantastic game. I still play with my son is.
You have all the pieces.
I have all of it.
That's the other issue. Is all the pieces. Usually, a lot of pieces are missing.
Correct, but once again, just like with Lego, it's normally 1 or 2 pieces that you lose, and they're really hard to find.
Sometimes it's more than that.
Yeah, but you
get a couple different sets
correct.
together.
So
maybe you can make one.
You could sell pieces of board games. You don't have to sell the entire board game.
Oh, that I like. That's a cool idea.
You're missing the 2 blue miners,
right?
Oh, guess what? I have them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just saying, there's. I think there are markets for more things than what people realize. I think just like GameStop is doing this, right? I think there might be a market around the world. I don't think it necessarily exists in the US, but I think there might be an old board game market as well.
There might be. I don't know, man. The U.S. is. I'm sure plenty of families play board games on a regular basis, but
I would love to know more about.
Families I know.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it would fly in the U.S. But I'd love to know more before giving him any type of answer. But
yeah, well, I'm looking at it from both ways. So all right, so from the board game side, I really like the idea of you're a parts shop, right? Hey, we're missing the dog from Monopoly, right? It's great. I love that. That's a great idea.
Well, not just we're missing the dog from the Monopoly. We're missing the dog from a Generation 2 monopoly, because the dog from Generation 2 is not the same as the modern one.
Sure, of course. Well, that'd be tough.
I know.
That'd be tough. That is very interesting, though. As far as video games go,
hey, if he says,
GameStop did it for years, and they almost went out of business.
Yeah, but there's a lot to that. I know how to get
and they
games.
jacked up the prices.
No, but I know how to get games for free. Yeah. Is the key thing in that. If you have zero cost of goods sold, if it doesn't cost you anything to source your product,
nothing, sure.
If you sell something for $2.50, you have a $2.50 profit on that product. So if you can get your product for free, whether it's a video game, board game, whatever it is, there's probably money to be made there.
I'm going to say this. This person's 16.
Yeah.
They might not. I hope I'm wrong for their sake. The person 16 probably has a connection to get some games for a while.
Okay.
That stream's going to run out.
Yeah.
That's eventually going to run out.
But as a first business, I'd rather see him do that than take a newspaper route.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah. Learn business. Learn it. Yeah.
So
if nothing else, you'll learn how to run a business.
Correct. I think this is a great starter idea for a business when you're 16. If you can sell some games, sell them online, sell them to friends, sell them at school, whatever, I think this is a great starter business. And if it becomes something, you're young enough that you still have time to build it. If it doesn't work,
if it works,
you're young enough that it doesn't matter.
But
right?
if it does work, they start going to like flea markets and stuff like that, buying old games that people have, repurpose them, make sure they have all the pieces to them and sell them. You can do that.
You see this at like those types of flea markets all the time. Yeah. People are buying used Nintendo games, and I know in Asia. So I didn't know this until recently because I met a Lego guy. That Asia is the largest market for secondary Lego.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
What part of Asia?
He didn't specify. He just said...
Because, Asia's rather large.
He ships almost all of his high-value items to Asia.
Wow.
They go into the Asian market.
That just sounds ridiculous.
I think he said Taiwan or one of those is like a hot seller.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's certain models that weren't released over there that people want, and there's certain pieces that are hard to get. But yeah, so Asia is a hot market for Legos if you know what the hell you're selling.
Very cool.
And apparently there's also a hot market for like the old Nintendo games and all kinds of stuff. I know, yeah. Right? So I think as a first business, this is a great idea. You'll learn a ton about different things. You don't need any of the things he's talking about. He doesn't need a commercial distribution license or any of that. Well, depending on what he's doing. Right. But anything that you're getting for free, if you can sell that.
I want to know more about that.
Yeah. It's a very vague, like there's no games if they aren't commercially free that are free, right? Because I don't know why he would need a commercial license. Because if you're just taking stuff and selling it, then you can sell it on eBay.
I would end on this.
I mean, at 16, you can't even register an eBay account.
Right.
So
I would end on this, and we kind of said it earlier. If nothing else, do it. Go do it and learn the basics of running a business. Yeah. And then go do something else and learn more. Yeah. And then go do something else and eventually find your way.
At 16, if this makes you another $500 a month, fantastic for you. The moment you turn 18, you know you have a viable business. Yeah. Now all you have to do is scale.
Right.
You've already done proof of concept. Yeah. Scaling.
And if it fails miserably, you've learned a lot. You've learned more than you would in any college class. I'll tell you that.
Correct. 100%.
So, all right. That's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for listening. And Gummy, we'll meet up next week.
We'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.